To put this more into perspective, for the men's basketball games, student seating can fill up the whole wall over here with a few more surrounding areas on the floor on each side. But then for the women's basketball games, designated seating for students is scaled way back to just one section back here. Hunter, that's a name Maryland fans didn't think they'd be cheering for next season, but now there might be a chance.
Equally amazing is how this new dress and team building led to a cultural shift that started showing up on the field and on the scoreboard. And even though there was tons of excitement earlier today, probably not as much as fans were leaving the ballpark.
And on the men's side, they took yet another big conference blow in East Lansing against Michigan State, where the offense essentially just looked non-existent. Well, Jameer Young said, "I'm staying in Maryland," while Lamar Jackson woke up yesterday morning and basically said, "I'm out of here."
Despite a disappointing season last year, Nats fans showed out for opening day, and as you can see right behind me, they're still flowing through the gates here to kick off the 2023 season.
Me too. So obviously we can tell we're going to be playing some Wheel of Fortune, but our own version. I'm super excited about this. I used to kill this game on the DSI, so good luck.
The DSI?
Yeah.
Courtney Wyche is a pitcher for Maryland softball. But she's also an entrepreneur and coach.
Teaching them how to be strong young women on and off the field is something that now is truly my purpose and my passion. So that's ultimately why I started my business.
Her pitching camp, Spin, Speed, and Snap, is for young pitchers and catchers to get better at their game, but also
to understand that they can use their talents and their gifts on the field, but to ultimately take them anywhere they want to go in life.
Wyche's teammate Kylie Goff started out as the catching coach for the camp about a year ago. Already, she's banking experiences she says are priceless, such as one interaction with one of the girls she coaches.
She got a picture. It was a picture of me and her, and she wanted me to sign it or whatever, and I was like, oh my God.
When on the softball field, it's not just Wyche and Goff having an impact on the girls they coach. Those girls have a lasting impact on them as well.
Just the little things that it brings, and especially with me being away from home, just having that little bit of warmness, getting just receiving that from somebody was so sweet.
Sharing moments like those is just a beginning, as they hope to expand so other girls can learn from Wyche and her teammates and grow not just as players, but young women as well.
So seeing them grow literally in life, not only as a pitcher on the field, it's oh, you're now young, you're becoming a little teenager. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm Keara Bruno for CNS TV.
Now that we are on TV, that the game is being streamed and on actual live TV, it's really important now that there are announcers who have an understanding of the game.
You may recognize Taylor Cummings, considered one of the best women's lacrosse players in the nation, and she's a former Terp.
I know what the players are going, kind of what they're thinking of in certain situations.
And because she's a coach, she's got a read on the game from that perspective as well.
And then from the coaching aspect, it helps me kind of have a deeper understanding of what might be going through Kathy's head or Kenneth's or Caitlin's heads and the opposing coaches as well.
For Cummings, being a commentator means so much more than just calling a game. It's about continuing to grow the game of women's lacrosse and be an inspiration to other young girls out there who may also want to join this field.
Women are watching women play. They know the understanding of games, sometimes at the same or deeper levels than their male counterparts.
Brendan Hartlove, who's by Cummings' side on the call, agrees.
We need people like Taylor that are doing such an amazing job to kind of help open a lot of those doors that, especially for some of the, quote, smaller sports, maybe haven't always been open.
And for the young women who want to be in Cummings' spot one day,
I'd say keep pushing, and there's a space for everybody.
Keara Bruno for CNS TV.
When we talk about college sports, we're talking mostly about winning and losing and the grit it takes to take the field. But behind the competition is a driving force at the center of every program, and that is the program's culture. It defines you, and when it shatters, it can break you. That happened to Maryland football. Coming back from defeat seemed impossible until Maryland Athletics found a coach who drew up a play to get Maryland football back in the game. Not an easy task, especially after the team suffered a tragedy with the death of Jordan McNair back in 2018.
I was at the workout, I did the same workout, so it was kind of honestly eye-opening and kind of crazy to see this is what came from that workout we were all at.
What came from that workout was tragedy.
the loss of a teammate, and for many months after that, struggle.
We had a lot of healing to do.
Maryland Athletic Director Damon Evans had to find someone who could not only help heal a broken team, but also revive it.
But I knew I had to find someone that could accept the challenges that we were dealing with and to help bring our community, our team, and our university through those challenges.
That's when he came across Michael Locksley, who he'd been watching from afar at Alabama. And after a few interviews, Evans knew Locksley was right for the job. And Locksley knew it wouldn't be easy.
It was probably at one of the lowest points I'd seen it. I can't speak for years that I wasn't here, but definitely a lot of turmoil, not stabilized.
And while there's little in a coach's playbook on how to heal a broken team, there was a lesson from Locksley's personal life that helped. He had just lost his own son who was shot and was managing his children's grief over the loss of their brother. And what he learned was everyone deals with grief differently.
And you can't cookie cutter it. You can't just put a Band-Aid over it and say one size fits all.
He held short meetings he called speed dating.
And I asked two questions. What do you like about being a Maryland football player? And what things don't you like about being a Maryland football player?
That allowed him to build the coach-player trust, something his players made clear they needed.
It felt like guys were being heard, because I feel like that helped a lot.
If you take a look at Locks, he deeply cares about the young men that are on his team. He constantly has them over his house. His wife, Keara, is very involved in their lives.
The first shift Locksley saw on his team was in the last game of the 2019 season against Michigan State. And then
The arrival of Leah Tungavailoa and some other transfers, along with the nucleus of players that decided to stay, buy in, and I started to see the growth.
On the field, but also off.
Like going in that locker room and just knowing that like you're in a safe place, like you kind of can go to anybody and feel comfortable enough to have a conversation, whether it's a personal, whether it's about the team, about whatever you want to talk about. Like I feel like having that relationship and having that bond in the locker room and that connection is amazing.
That camaraderie helped boost the status of the six-year player.
In that locker room, like it's been tremendous, like to be a part of it and just see, like as an older guy who came in as that freshman, that kind of just sat back and watched it, and now I'm up in the front as a leader. I feel like it's just been amazing.
Equally amazing is how this new trust and team building led to a cultural shift that started showing up on the field and on the scoreboard. Only to be challenged again by expectations from a new coach, a revamped team, and a fan base hungry for even more.
Back in the day, people would have been happy with 7 or 8 games. Now it's we need to win 9 or 10. So we got to get comfortable with the expectations of people want us to compete for championships.
And that has been a challenge, as some of the initial momentum with this revamped team seems to have stalled for an increasingly demanding fan base.
When you've had challenging times, there's always doubt that creeps in your mind. What I've seen is that doubt eliminated.
You know, there's no doubt in my mind that the program is heading in the right direction. I still see a team that's together. I still see a team that has a lot to fight and play for. This isn't the Maryland that 2018 Maryland, or that Maryland that went through the things. This is a whole new ball game.
I think that's what got the guys to buy in, was the fact that we were seeing that change and seeing that he wanted the best for this school and for these players. I think that was the biggest thing that helped that change come, is us noticing as a team and a family that like he cares for us, he cares for this university, he's trying to change for the better of this place and this team.
It may look impossible to those on the outside for Maryland to get to the next level in college football, but this team has made it clear they will continue to fight and do whatever it takes to get there, just like they once did in 2018 to be where they are now in 2023. I'm Keara Bruno reporting. And from one player who has been making an impact to actually one who can't anymore. Commanders defensive end Shaka Toney has been suspended indefinitely due to sports gambling, along with 4 other NFL players. It was the 2 seed versus the 1 seed. Maryland, an absolute powerhouse, undefeated South Carolina. How well teams do at these tournaments often depends on their fans showing up. But will they show up? People pack the house for the Maryland men's basketball team, but what about the women's team? I looked into it.
We are back here at Washington Commanders training camp. It is practice number 12.
Now from the XFL to the NFL, which held its draft this weekend in Kansas City. So it's time to debrief. That's right, guys, and I'm sure many of us are guilty of saying there's just not enough time in the day. But for one Maryland athlete, she finds the time to give young girls a chance to play the game they love in their own backyard. I'll have more next in sports.